Welcome. I'm Kelly Kearney with Starry Constellation Magazine, and joining me today, it's a pleasure to talk about the sixth and sadly the final season of Cobra Kai, actress and star Vanessa Rubio. Thank you so much
Hi.
for joining me, Vanessa.
Thank you for having me, Kelly.
Absolutely. Let's talk it, just jump right into the drama, Vanessa. Things are finally stable and moving forward in Miguel and Carmen's life as they look forward to welcoming a baby, starting a family with Johnny, continuing to build this like strong family unit with Robbie. Looking past that gender reveal party, no spoilers, what sort of father do you think Johnny is going to be?
I think that's kind of, the way it was written. It's kind of to challenge those notions and himself too as a character. What kind of a dad is he going to be, in this later stage in life and then this kind of unexpected situation. And I think that's the whole journey of Cobra Kai, right? It's the development of these characters, especially the Johnny character, which is kind of why it's been so endearing to see and such a lovely surprise as a series because, you weren't expecting to follow the Johnny character. And I think everybody really likes it and really likes that they were surprised by how much they liked it too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And right off the bat, the chemistry was off the charts between Johnny when he met Carmen. Over the years, that relationship has sort of evolved, and fans have always been really supportive of it. They're looking forward to sort of their happiness and a wrap up of their
Yeah.
relationship. She kind of roughs out his spikier edges, I think.
Mhm.
What's it been like working with William Billy Zabka?
I know it's so funny. I know him as Billy, and sometimes when I'm gonna tag him on Instagram or something, I type in Billy, and I'm like, oh no, it's William.
William.
Um, it's been lovely. It's just been an unexpected thing. No, when we started in 2017, we didn't expect it to, have the journey that it had. So we all just met each other and, just started to put our best efforts into it. And since then, it really has taken on its own journey. Cobra Kai then was released on Netflix and it took on its own journey. So, it's just lucky. We just got lucky because we didn't even have a chemistry read or anything.
Nice.
Yeah, and so and my character at first, I had no clue that my character was going to become a love interest to Johnny's character and the actor that clued me in on that, sometimes I can just like go and exist in this sort of state of denial and just like, let me do my work. Um the Rosa who plays the mother on the show,
Yes.
mother, she gave me a little nudge and was like, they're gonna make you the love interest. And I was
She
like,
saw that coming.
yeah, she saw that coming. Yeah, she had more experience, I think.
Well, let's talk about the boys, Robbie and Miguel. They have this complicated relationship. It's finally found its way to a friendship by the end of season five, when we started season six. Can we expect that friendship to kind of be tested now that Robbie, not Miguel, is leading the team into the tournament at Barcelona? Because it was so nice to finally see them become friends, maybe on their way to being kind of brotherly. And now maybe there's some tension going into the second half of the season.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's the essence of, relationships that you're so neck and neck and you're both so talented at something that you edge up on each other, inevitably, and you challenge each other. And that's also kind of, I think, possibly what attracts two people like that together too, where they're like, oh, nobody's at my level like you are. So I think that is kind of in the works there, without any spoiling anything. But that's also the essence of, what can make these characters come into their true identity as people,
Yeah.
So we're all kind of watching for that.
And brothers, I mean, they're kind of brothers at this point.
They're
They're
kind of
they're
weirdly
normally
brothers.
competitive.
Yeah.
I
They're weird brothers.
mean, a little bit. Speaking of Miguel, played by Cholo Marijuana, I think Marijuana. I'm sorry, I
Nailed it.
mispronounced Marijuana. What it's been like playing a mother to him and watching Cholo and the other Karate Kids grow into themselves, grow up, grow into their characters over the seasons. How has that been?
Oh God, it's been lovely. And of course, I've more of a closer working relationship with Sholo and a little bit with Tanner, because he is kind of the Lawrence Diaz family unit.
Right.
But Cholo for sure, and he's just been so sweet from the start and just so himself, so genuine and so just honest about his artistic pursuits and his curiosities, and he's just lovely. And yeah, when we started, these kids were going into school and stuff, and then now when we're finishing, we're like, okay, yeah, you're at the adult parties, you know what I mean? Like, so it's just transition, but it's been really lovely to get to know them. And then also me and Sholo, we shadowed a director, one of our favorite directors, Joel Novoa, for certain episodes. I think it was 607 and 608. And so we were both kind of like, students like behind the director, just kind of like, so we were able to kind of bond in that way too, and just talk a lot about movies and a lot about, different artistic visions. So just
He's
love.
really grown in his craft and also his karate skills. I interviewed him in season two. I think it was season two. He was younger. He turned green about this, and now he seems like such a pro with those kind of stunts and that stuff. It must be interesting to kind of watch these kids grow up and also grow into those skills.
Absolutely. And they nail it. Sholo nails it. At the Sakai Taikai, I always have trouble pronouncing that. But he nails it. He nails it. And
Really.
joy to watch them, truly. Um, I was going to mention something else, and now I just flew out of my mind. Oh
Well,
well.
it might come back to you, but we have to talk about Mr. Miyagi because there are some unflattering truths to Mr. Miyagi's past that kind of come to the surface, and Daniel has to find a way to kind of make peace with that this season, I think. Will those truths cause like a ripple effect from Daniel to Johnny to Miguel? That be felt throughout throughout the team as they're going into the tournament?
Well, without revealing anything, I think
Spoilers.
I know it's hard to like talk about something and be like, but I can't talk about it. Um, I think really kind of, yeah, and the Mr. Miyagi, Daniel LaRusso relationship is just so beloved, right? It's for all
Yeah,
of us. So I think the storytellers really handled it well, and it kind of stays in that universe between them.
nice.
Of course, Daniel LaRusso has all these other relationships now, and people can perceive, what's going on with him. But that's a huge one, right? That's a huge journey to go through for Daniel LaRusso character.
I really enjoy the fact that even though Pat Morita is no longer with us, he's still a part of this show. It's such an important role to the universe of Karate Kid. It only makes sense to bring it along to the series.
Yeah.
But I like that everyone still respects that core center of what he brought to the films and brings it into the show. It really, for longtime fans, it's really important, I think. And it's an important journey for Daniel.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Just working in a storyline and a legacy story that involves such a beloved character that Pat Morita embodied is an honor, because it is one of those timeless characters that just dropped upon us, and we're all just so lucky. We love
It's
it.
a piece of pop culture. I feel like he's a piece of pop culture that even the younger generation, who might have never even seen the original Karate Kid,
Mhm.
knows wax on, wax off, knows those things, has heard about it. It's kind of legendary, so it makes sense that it would be such an important part of the series. Let's talk about Ralph Macchio, actually. Directed episode three, and Billy Zabka directed an episode later on in the season, the next crop of five that are coming out. What was it like working with those guys behind the camera? Because we're used to working them in front, they jump behind. Did they have a different sort of a technique now that they know these characters so well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're just two completely different people. Um, and and it's funny how that translates, into the atmosphere of those episodes when you're working on them. Episode three was just a class act, just like Ralph Macchio is, just
Mm-hmm.
carried through on this sort of um like graceful elegance of real cinema. And you just felt it too with the kind of choices he made. And I was like, oh, this feels like film. It feels like
Mhm.
like a classic film, you know? So it just felt great and it felt nice. And I think we all popped and we were all just like, yeah. And things aligned too in a really beautiful way. Um, Billy's episode, I can't really talk too much about, obviously, because it's coming up, but
Sure.
it was essentially Billy, you know, it was just different. There was actually one point in that episode that Billy's, you know, and he's just like whispering in my ear, oh, but this is gonna look great because I'm gonna do this, and that afterwards. And I'm like, So I have like this other vision, and then I'm also in the episode, like, and then there was one instance where he flipped around a scene completely. And I was just like, I looked at him, I'm like, I don't even know what planet we're on anymore. But it's your planet and it's gonna be awesome. So they're just, you know, one's one way and the other one's another way.
I love that because they're certainly different characters. They're certainly different. They approach their characters in different ways, actors. So I love that. And they kind of bring that personality even behind the camera. And maybe we'll see some differences in how those shows were shot. With like, oh yeah, that feels like Billy. That feels like
Yeah.
you know. That's really interesting. Is there a scene in season 6 that you're especially proud of that you hope connects with fans the way it connected with you? And not to spoiler or anything, but if it's in the second half of the season, maybe the episode number, so that way fans can eye out for it.
Oh, and now thinking back, I'm like, I think it's episode 12. And the final episodes, really special. And you know, as an actor, you're just doing your thing and you hope that the whole thing cooked up later looks looks the way you want it to look.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case. You know, it's a collaborative art form. So I felt, you know, some really wonderful things happening in 612. I just hope that they translate. That's really all I can hope for. But they
Have
were,
you seen all the season yet? Have you seen the
no,
whole?
no.
Oh.
We're getting the chunks of five a bit before they're released, but
Mhm.
so I haven't seen the last 10 episodes.
Oh wow. Well, I can't wait to see the next crop, and I know that they're going to be released a little early, which makes fans really excited. I think it's 2 weeks early in November it'll be released.
Yeah.
Is there a moment from filming season 6 that would just blow season 1 Vanessa's mind that you never thought that you would be playing when you first took the role that you got to do in this last season?
Ah, that's such a fun question. Um, can I answer all of them? You know that I mean I was wearing a belly for most of the season and I
Right.
think that blew my mind where I'm like, okay, I have to get into my outfit, but I also have to get into this belly and this belly is a thing. It's definitely a factor. So I think that probably would have blown for season one, Carmen slash Vanessa's mind for sure. I'm like, how did we get here? We don't know, but we formed a really great TV family. It's really special.
Yeah, and was there any challenges to wearing that to that belly? Was
Yeah.
there anything that you were just like, wow, this is the whole thing I have to kind of choreograph in my scenes?
Oh, for sure, for sure. I would, you know, there was a certain time, like after a certain amount of hours, I was like, I gotta get this thing off, or I have to take a break or something, because it would start to, you know, get my lower back or something like that,
Yeah,
or you know, words weren't coming so clearly anymore. But it did, it did.
you had like sort of like you almost like you had pregnancy brain, but from the
Yeah,
belly. That's
exactly.
hysterical.
But it was enormously fun. And you know, everybody loves to touch a pregnant belly, whether it's real or fake. That's what I
So
learned.
funny.
It's so funny. It's just human nature, I think, to see a pregnant belly and to just gravitate towards it and
I
say,
feel
"How
like
are you?" and put a hand on the belly. And I was like, "You guys know there's nothing in there, right? There's no."
nothing there. That's so funny. Well, after the shocking cliffhanger, I guess we can talk about it because it's been out for a few days now. After the shocking cliffhanger at the end of Tori joining up with Kreese, the tensions rising between Daniel Johnny, and Chosen as Miyagi Fang heads into the tournament. Can we expect for the second and third half of the season? What can we expect for the second and third half of the season and the final goodbye? Just like little hints or maybe an overall theme, nothing spoily.
Um, well, I mean, all these characters have to resolve. We're in the last season, series finale, guys. So all of these characters with the heightened stakes have to find the resolution. So, whether Kreese lands on one side or the other, or Tori lands on one side or the other, we all have to see that and, hope for the best. But some characters, you just kind of like are really like, I don't know if they're gonna turn the other way, you still hold out hope. I'm always like weirdly holding out hope for Kreese. I'm like, maybe he'll
Maybe, maybe he'll come around to realize the error of his ways.
yeah. But yeah, he really makes you doubt. So we're all just gonna have to watch.
Absolutely. I'm sure the fans are going to watch it like crazy because Cobra Kai started as this small sequel on YouTube and it became this massively popular juggernaut on Netflix.
Yeah.
And it's kind of collected not just the old fans, who, of course, we're going to check that out, but the new fans that are now going back and watching the movies and really getting involved in the series. What do you hope the lasting legacy of this show will be? Because we know what the legacy of the films were. It brought the show. What do you hope the legacy of the show will be?
Oh man, what a great question. Kelly, you're full of these meta questions.
Well, I was a big fan of Karate Kid as a child. I actually took karate because of it. Huge Daniel-san fan. Big poster on my bedroom wall.
Oh, that's so sweet. And ditto, me and my brothers and sisters took karate as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, made it up to high brown belt, and then I
Oh.
I got scared, weirdly, but I never had a poster. So yeah, that's pretty hardcore. Um, I think it's just beautiful the way it's unfolded. It's remarkable, right?
Yeah.
Um, I think, every part of this is a moment in the zeitgeist. The Karate Kid was that essence of the 80s and the like, kind of a little bit of the late 70s too,
Yeah.
which touches because I'm an 80s baby and I'm like, man, there's just nothing like that. And then now we have this one where it's just a mismatch and it's a beautiful thing to see the younger generations having all of these capacities like YouTube and all of these readily, available forms of entertainment where they could just say, yeah, I want to travel back to the 80s and experience that. Oh, that's really cool. Bring it back here and translate it into what they're experiencing now in this day and age. So I don't know. I think Cobra Kai is kind of just a really nice updating of the Karate Kid, in a way that we have all these generations kind of like sandwiching together and sharing then like the older generations want to share with the younger and surprisingly the younger ones like it. Like that's kind of just nice when you can have like a parental generation talking in a way with the younger ones and both of them are listening and communicating and really enjoying a show together. So it's been really special. I think it's just sprinkled with a lot of good stuff. And I'm just like really happy that it's out in the world.
I think maybe the legacy could be that if it's done right, you can bring anything back to life and make it popular because it's been a long time since those movies were out, and it could have fallen into a category of a reboot that just doesn't play right with the times now. And you're right, the cast brings in sort of older talents that we're very used to from the 80s, original cast members from the film, and it so easily meshes because it's written well, it's performed well, it already had a fan base. I think it's a little hope for people that might want to breathe some life into some old popular films and maybe see how that goes with the younger generation these days. I think they're open to it.
Yeah, totally. I agree.
Absolutely. So besides acting, I have to ask this because I was looking at your socials. Besides acting, you share some of your artwork. You're a painter. Yeah, you're a painter, and I think I saw somewhere you're kind of an avid doodler. Is that something that, as an actress, you use to recenter yourself and kind of refocus after you spent all day in somebody else's skin?
Totally. You nailed it right on the head. Absolutely. It brings me back to my center. Absolutely. And it's just like a way to dip into my subconscious. And sometimes what I draw then will surprise me. And I'm like, oh, that's what I'm actually thinking about or concerned about, or what's popping out and being created. It's a wonderful form for me to center myself. And when I was living in New York, pre-pandemic times, I would love to draw on the subway because I guess I'm a people observer.
Oh.
It goes with the territory of being an actor. And I just love drawing faces. I think people are so beautiful. Um, and when you really get into it, you're in awe of the face. You're in awe of, the particularities of every single person and how everything lines up. And it's just, all our imperfections are perfections. So yeah, I have a lot of journals, that's for sure. I'm actually working on organizing them all and giving them some love and attention that they deserve.
Oh wow. Well, maybe we'll see some kind of release of some of that work. Do you still
Yeah.
go on the subway and draw people's faces?
I do not. I do not live in New York anymore, but if
Mm.
I ever return, I will do that. Probably sit in Central Park and do that.
It's a good place to do it, and there's a lot of people that do that. And New Yorkers are quite friendly. Everyone wants a picture of themselves.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, what is coming up for you in your career next? Are you working on something else? Do you have something coming out we can talk about? Fans can keep an eye out for.
Nothing at the moment. This kind of the essence of the job is to go with the flow,
Yeah.
but I'm taking advantage now of this kind of period of time where you share the output with the world, which is just so lovely, right? Like we had that fan event in Los Angeles, and I was just like, this is like the icing on the cake. And I'm just taking the time now to, like I said, pay attention to my other creative pursuits and to listen to them and to be like, what do you guys want now? Okay. So I got to give them a little love. And then, hey, if another role comes up, I am so happy to play it. I love what I do and I'm just lucky in that
What
way.
do you think you're going to miss most about this series? Going to work and working with this group and bringing Carmen to life. What's the thing that you're going to think back maybe 10 years from now and be like, oh, that
Aw.
was the best part?
Yeah, all of those things you mentioned. Bringing karma to life, going to work with these people, both on screen and behind this screen as well. We have a lovely production team in Atlanta that we all grew to love so much. Um, just that, just settling in. I think I'll miss probably Carmen the most. She's just so sweet. She just was a type of character that was just a good egg, a
Yeah.
good character. And it's as an actor, you're lucky when you get those because you're like, oh, I don't have to figure out, why you're evil or
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
figure out, your big, huge thing. She had some huge things. She had some definitely past trauma, as we all do.
Sure.
But
Like ex-husband, of course, or
right.
Shola's father, Miguel's father.
Yes, but she had a real centered heart and a real kind of vulnerability and a curiosity, an openness to life and to love again that I really enjoyed being on the ride with her. And I think she carried me through a lot of my own personal journeys, going through this whole growth process. So I think I'll miss her. She was just so soft and so lovely and so sweet.
She was soft and lovely, but she always had boundaries and she protected her son. Even in the beginning, with Billy, she was cautious with him, regardless, or, with Johnny, she was cautious with him, regardless of the chemistry and the drawing to each other. She was cautious for her son. So soft and sweet, but still strong.
Yeah, still a mama bear. Yeah, my
Yeah.
favorite, my favorite is in season one when she's like, he's a loser. And then, like season six, she's having his baby.
She's having a baby. Sometimes that happens, right? People change. What would you like to say to the fans of the show, who have just loved it and probably are the reason why it went from a little YouTube show to this massive juggernaut? So, what would you like to say to them, your fans, and the fans of the show and the Karate Kid universe?
They're absolutely the reason why Cobra Kai became what it came to be. That makes more sense. Um, just thank you. Just thank you. Massively love you guys, honestly. And I say it because it's true that Cobra Kai fans are really the best. They're just so sweet and they're just so like enlivened by the show that it's just like, oh, you know, as a person working to make the show happen, part of the whole big production that's making it happen, you're like, you know, when you see that reaction, you're like, it's so validating. You're just like, oh, what we're doing is actually, you like it. Great. So
Well,
thanks
the
for that.
fans do love it. They love it. I think they're going to be sad to say goodbye,
Mhm.
but they're going to love, I think, the second and third half because there's three parts to this last season. Second part comes out in November. Everyone should check that out on Netflix. You should definitely finish the first 5 episodes if you haven't already, although I can't believe nobody has.
Yeah, they go down
So,
again.
fans,